Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. This is the daily show normally where I go over the news in the world of entertainment and pop culture. This last couple of days have been a bit busy, so I haven't been able to actually do one of these live streams for a while. And there's also so much news to get over. So I'm going to start off. I'm Edward Lauder. I'm the editor of Small Screen. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you're watching over on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe. That'd be great if I can get that off at the very beginning of the show. If you're watching over on Facebook, then hello, welcome. Please like and not subscribe, like and follow the page, like the video, share the video. And if you'd rather listen to this in podcast form, you can. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. If you listen, you just search for Small Screen Stories and you'll find it there. And if you could give us a 5-star rating, that would be really, really cool. That would really help me. So, yeah, that would be wonderful. For some reason, I am buffering at the moment on YouTube, which isn't great. But you know what? What is going on? So interesting. Very interesting. Oh, well, you know what? We're going to carry on because this is it's just one of those things. So let's go into the very first story of the day. Well, it's not this again. I'm going to go over quite a lot of stuff that was previously, probably was last week's news because I didn't get the chance to get to last week's news. But the very first thing is that Tom Cruise lost it on the set of Mission Impossible 7. I'm pretty sure you all heard this, where he blasted his crew for ignoring COVID-19 safety protocols. There's been a lot written about this since. And a lot of it is kind of, I am erring very much on the side of Tom Cruise. I think what he did was, people don't really understand what it's like being on a movie set. I'm not going to play you the audio clip of what he said because there was a lot of swear words in there and I kind of want to keep this show swear word free. But the gist of it was he was not very happy with supposedly two male members of the crew that were apparently looking at a screen they were too close to the screen. And they weren't wearing their masks. So the thing is, if you're going to go into background on what happened and why he was probably so annoyed about this, it's because, well, he's actually he's first of all the producer of the film, so a lot rides on this, a lot for him as well. And one of the main reasons he was so annoyed was because it had already been the Mission Impossible 7 had already been shut down once. I think it was in October 12th, I believe. Because they had 12 cases, of COVID-19 among the crew, so they had to, basically they had to stop it, didn't they? And then they had to stop it, and then they started again in November in the UK this time, where they got special permission to film. And it's one of those things, we don't realize really how much money's at stake. We don't really realize how much effort Tom Cruise is putting into this. There have been rumors that this might have been staged, because it was leaked, and it was kind of like a perfect segment, like a perfect leak. It was leaked to the Sun, I believe. And yeah, that might be true. I mean, personally, I don't know. I haven't heard anything like really kind of substantial about that. But it's one of those things that I'm a bit like, I kind of understand both sides, but really I'm on Tom Cruise's side. There are people comparing it to Christian Bale's outburst. I think it's actually very different to Christian Bale's outburst because there is a lot more at stake for Tom Cruise. During the rant, he goes on about how he's on the phone to movie studios, to insurance people every day, and that's not something that Christian Bale had to do on the set of Terminator Salvation. So it is different. I think, maybe he could have been a bit less kind of, let's say, sweary and shouty about it. He could have dealt with it in a different way, but it's a high pressure environment, so we don't really understand because we're not. I mean, I've been on it. I have done one independent movie which filmed over a weekend, and that was stressful. And that was just 2 days or 3 days of filming, and that was stressful. Let alone it be like Mission Impossible 7. We can't put ourselves into that mind frame because we haven't been there. Now, if you're an actor that's worked in that environment, then maybe you can say something. But then again, most actors I've heard have been very much on Tom Cruise's side. But that's all. I mean, that's everything I have to say about it. People have spoken to death about this thing. The media have spun it the way they wanted to spin it, which is what they always do. Here on Small Screen, we were very much on Tom Cruise's side. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. What do you think about his whole outburst thing? Yeah, just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, moving on to what is actually an exclusive for us here at Small Screen, and that's that Michael Keaton is one of the names who's going to be returning, according to our sources, to Spider-Man 3. So, of course, he played the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, and we know that he's going to be in the upcoming Morbius film because he was teased in the trailer. So, yeah, our sources basically said that he's going to be on set, and he's basically going to be involved in Spider-Man 3 as the Vulture, and it looks very much like the Sinister Six will be a big part of this film, or will be in this movie. So the likes of Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, of course Michael Keaton playing the Vulture. Dane DeHaan is also rumored to be back. So I'll get this up as I usually do. Here we go on my desktop. So Michael Keaton is going to be involved in Spider-Man 3 as the Vulture. He's already signed on to be in the movie, and it seems to be the last piece in the puzzle of getting the Sinister Six on the big screen for the first time, which is very true. That would be the very first time it's been on the big screen. They did tease it in the previous films, but yeah. So that was what my source told me. This was then corroborated by a number of people. That was the very first that quote there was the very first bit of information I had about this. And then it was corroborated by multiple sources. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really want to run this to begin with because I have been rather skeptical about all the number of people involved in this film. But the people that spoke to me said no, that all the people that have been rumored are actually going to be in this film. So I've got to get my head around this. So that's first off, we've got Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon. And, the usual Benedict Cumberbatch is also going to be in it. And then it was revealed, I think the first person that was revealed to be in it was Jamie Foxx, coming back as Electro, and that was a bit of a shock. And then Alfred Molina, and then Willem Dafoe, Dane DeHaan. Then there was the whole Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield thing, well, actually before all of that. So those, and now with Michael Keaton, is there going to be any space in this film for Tom Holland? It seems like a lot of people, I'm going to be honest. It's a lot of people to be involved in this film. I mean, maybe it'll work. It's rumored. I mean, it's going to be a multiverse film. I think it's also, I'm going into another story here, but it's also being reported that this will be the second part in a trilogy, in a multiverse trilogy, which will start with WandaVision, then Spider-Man 3, and finish off with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And that does make sense. So a lot of this will be tied to what Wanda Maximoff does in WandaVision. And she's also rumored to be in the movie as well. I haven't actually heard anything about that. Most recently, the most recent rumors I've heard are that Morbius, so Jared Leto, and this comes from Daniel Rickman, I think, both Jared Leto and Tom Hardy are rumored to be in this film, picking up their roles of Morbius and Venom. So if this is really true, that isn't part of my scoop. This is now kind of pure speculation area. I think this film is going to be very full. We have heard reports, I think it was Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity said that the core of the movie is going to be focused around the relationship between Peter Parker and Zendaya's MJ, which is nice to hear. I really do hope that's the case. There have also been reports that Charlie Cox's Daredevil is going to be back in the movie. There have been reports that he might be turning up as Matt Murdock. So there have been reports of there potentially being a courtroom scene in which Matt Murdock represents Peter Parker in court. Now, those reports were then actually not debunked, but they were put to one side by Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this movie. As far as I'm concerned, this film is very, very busy already, and all of these things. As far as my sources are aware, Michael Keaton was going to be in this film from actually pretty much the beginning. He'd been signed on a while ago, but it just hadn't been officially confirmed because I think people are getting very carried away with the fact that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are reportedly going to be in the film. I haven't spoken about this in the past, that I personally believe if they're going to be in the movie, it's going to be like a really, really small cameo, because I don't think Kevin Feige is someone to leave that sort of thing up to chance. And as far as like we're concerned. Oh, the other one is Thomas Hayden Church is rumored to be back as Sandman, and Jake Gyllenhaal is rumored to be coming back as Mysterio. So it's like, what is this film? Seriously, what is this film? But that's kind of enough Spider-Man 3 talk, I believe. The exclusive on our end is that Michael Keaton's going to be back as the Vulture. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on and moving away from Spider-Man, finally. And on to another exclusive of ours, which is that Marvel Studios is reportedly looking to make a violent Daredevil limited series. So this is something that I have actually been working on this for a while. And full disclosure, the first thing I was told by my sources was that they're actually working on a Daredevil movie, which could be coming in Phase 6 of the MCU. Then a source, one of the sources that told me this, actually came back to me and said, actually, no, it's going to be a limited series, but they're filming it in the same way they would film a movie. So in the same way that they're kind of doing Boba Fett, I think is what he told me. But it seems as though it's one of those things that's been this has been rumored for a while. So for instance, Geekosity reported that Kevin Feige and Marvel were looking to bring a Daredevil series possibly to Hulu. And they wrote back that, so Mikey Sutton wrote that I keep hearing from insiders that Feige is intending on keeping the adult nature of Daredevil a perfect fit for the MA programming on the streamer Hulu, which Disney mostly owns. So, and then he went into more detail about it and actually said that there have also been whispers of Daredevil meeting Moon Knight, possibly in the second season of the Moon Knight show, which we know is happening, which is coming to Disney+. So that will kind of be the same level of brutality that they'll see in Daredevil's own show, which is, according to my sources, going to be starring Charlie Cox. So then I'll just show you guys what I wrote. Actually, what my sources told me. A Daredevil series is in the works over at Marvel Studios. This is very much being spearheaded by Kevin Feige, and it's going to be violent. When I say violent, I mean violent in all caps. Possibly R-rated, and it looks like it's coming to Star on Disney+, Hulu in the US at the moment. So if you remember correctly, Star is the thing they made in Europe and Asia and basically everywhere in the world apart from the United States, where they're going to be putting their kind of more, not R-rated, but more mature content. In the US, it's going to be very much Hulu. So then a second source then told me, looks like the Daredevil movie I told you about a few days ago isn't actually a movie. They're filming it they're filming it as they would a film, but it's not going to be released as a limited series, possibly 4 episodes. It'll be coming to Star, so on Disney Plus in Europe, UK, India, etc. Not sure where it'll come in the US, maybe Hulu. This Daredevil series could also be rated 18+, so R-rated in the United States. So yeah, that is the exclusive as far as you know, the information that I've been given. It's pretty exciting. It seems as though this is going to be the Charlie Cox Daredevil that we all know and love. That it was actually reported a couple of days ago. So I think Murphy's Multiverse said that he's going to be coming back as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3. So, you know, it seems as though it's all go as far as Charlie Cox's Daredevil is concerned, and which is, I'm pretty sure, very nice. I mean, I'm excited about it because I'm a big fan of Charlie Cox's Daredevil. It's something that fans have been clamoring for a long, long time. They've really wanted to see Charlie Cox return as Daredevil because he's brilliant in the role. He's great, and it's going to be keeping that same violent kind of feel that the original Netflix Daredevil series had. So let me know what you guys think about that news in the comments below. Right, moving on to Black Panther 2. So it's now being rumored by Daniel Rickman again, who's I like to call him a serial scooper. He's come under a bit of flack recently, but according to him, Marvel Studios is rumored to make M'Baku the new Black Panther and not Shuri. So it had previously been reported that there were rumors that they might share the kind of Black Panther mantle, and he's saying no, it's going to be M'Baku on his own, which is something that seems to be growing in popularity because people are starting to say that Shuri isn't right for the role of Black Panther, that she'd much rather be the smartest person in the world, which she really is now, especially since Tony Stark's no longer with us in the MCU. And I mean, Bruce Banner's still out there, so he's still a pretty bright guy. But yeah, she's very much kind of like Q to Black Panther, in James Bond. And they it sounds as though they kind of want her to stay that way, and M'Baku would be the one to take over the Black Panther mantle. Of course, Kevin Feige did say that they're not going to be recasting the role of T'Challa after Chadwick Boseman's very sad passing, which I think is very good news. I think that is the right way to go. I never ever thought they should recast that role, because it would just bring with it a whole load of complications that I don't think Marvel Studios really wants, and I don't think Ryan Coogler wants. So it looks like Ryan Coogler has worked out a rather interesting way to do a Black Panther 2 without T'Challa. So there might be a funeral scene. I don't know. This is all speculation, but let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, now it's being rumored that Fox's original X-Men could appear in Marvel's Doctor Strange 2. So this is news that comes from Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity, and they're saying this could happen, which is pretty exciting actually. So here's what Mikey Sutton wrote. So they reveal they are discussions to feature cameos by members of the first X-Men cast, basically a fond farewell to the past as the MCU proceeds to the future with rebooted mutants of their own. There are no decisions made on which actors will be brought back or if negotiations have been begun yet. So I thought this was quite interesting because, again, it comes from an outlet that I really do trust, and it sounds as though they are talking about this, and I personally think they really should try and do something like this because I think it would work quite well. But then again, it might be quite jarring. But with all this stuff that's going on with the multiverse, it's definitely a way they could do it. I've already, we've already spoken in the past on the show about Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool coming into that movie as well. So maybe that could be something that might happen, and Ryan Reynolds might end up staying in that MCU. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen as far as his character is concerned. But it looks like they're trying to find a way to bring back the original X-Men for a kind of fond farewell, which I think would be quite fun. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. All right, sorry. Excuse my voice today. Right, Zac Efron is apparently odds-on favourite to be cast as the Human Torch in the MCU's Fantastic Four movie. So this is something that to be honest, it's a Vegas betting odds site that put this up, and actually they didn't put him as the main guy, but he was in the top 3. And if you remember correctly, we were told that Dacre Montgomery is actually in line to play the role. He's apparently in talks as far as our sources are concerned. But no, as far as Bovada is the Las Vegas odds maker. So the ones so they basically came up with their own cast for the Fantastic Four, and they said Mr. Fantastic is going to be John Krasinski, the Invisible Woman is Emily Blunt, Human Torch is Anthony Ramos, who I believe is from Hamilton, I think. Then The Thing, Stephen Graham, who was in The Irishman. He's a Liverpudlian actor. He's a really good actor. Doctor Doom, Giancarlo Esposito. So I'm going to be honest, I don't. 3 of these I'm not sure about. Anthony Ramos I'm not sure about at all. It's a name that, I'm relatively familiar with him, but it's apparently after him, directly after him, you can get quite good odds on one of the favourites in this as far as this odds. Again, I don't bet, so I don't really understand the ins and outs of this. But apparently, Zac Efron is one of the favourites, and Zac Efron is actually one of the people one of the actors he's been fan casted in the role quite a lot. Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, I'm pretty sure is nailed on. Stephen Graham, I think, would be a really good thing, and actually, Giancarlo Esposito would be a great Doctor Doom. But then again, it's kind of dangerous for him because he's in danger of being typecast as the villain. He's a very good villain. He makes a very good villain, but I'm not sure if he'd want to be the villain in every single thing. But again, he does work with Disney. Daniel Rickman's Patreon page it came from. And then Mikey Sutton dropped some information just last week on the Spider-Man plot details. So it seems as though a lot of people are talking about it. I think Disinsider also did a podcast episode on it saying that this was happening. So basically, to recap, we've got the upcoming MCU trilogy, that will start off with WandaVision, then we'll get Spider-Man 3, then Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, and those films will kind of all be linked. and then it looks like Marvel is trying to make sure they still have Spider-Man movies in the future, and they've got to do a new deal. But this is something that is kind of. Oh no, it wasn't Daniel Rickman. Sorry, I got that wrong. Let me try and get up the right article. Here we go. Sorry. Yeah, so no, it was Geekosity. So Industry Insider, before Geekosity was launched, broke the news that indeed Tom Holland's Spider-Man would be returning to the MCU films at the famous Spidey Summit. So that was a while back. And now Mikey Sutton said at Geekosity that Sony and Disney are now in negotiations over Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So here's a quote from him. He said, "Yesterday I was told by insiders that another contract was on the verge of being signed by Disney and Sony. Details are scarce, but sources tell me that the deal will keep Spider-Man in the MCU for an additional 3 solo movies and an option for 1 more." So this is directly from Geekosity. It was then that there's been a lot of stuff online since. People, I think it is Diz Insider that have since said that was their scoop. But again, I don't care about that stuff. I think sites all have sources. It's like it's not an easy thing to do, because I think often things come out at the same time. People get told the same information. They just run with it. I do believe, I'm going to end up being on Geekosity's side here. I do believe they published the article first before Diz Insider's podcast was released. But don't hold me to that. I mean, look at it for yourselves. See what's happening for yourselves. I'm just happy about this news. That's all I'm going to say. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, moving on. That was a bit of a difficult one to get through. Apparently, Twitter is now making fun of Chris Pratt after Star-Lord is revealed to be bisexual in the Marvel comics. So this is something that's been going on for quite a while now. People are looking to basically, I don't like it, but they're looking to cancel Chris Pratt because he belongs to a church that is it's difficult to talk about because, I don't go to church, and for me it's a bit like, oh, okay. It sounds to me like he's just quite a devout Catholic, which again I don't personally have a problem with, but it sounds like a lot of people have a specific problem with the church he's part of. I think a lot of celebrities go to that church, and they are reportedly not very nice to members of the LGBTQ plus community. Well, that puts up a bit of a problem if Chris Pratt does indeed share those values, which he has actually said he doesn't. He did release a statement, and I think it was brought up by Elliot Page at the time. So this is going back a while. And he basically said that kind of called Chris Pratt out for the fact that he is part of this church. Now, in the comics, there's the recent Guardians of the Galaxy comic. There's like a scene where Chris Pratt basically has a tryst with a couple, so kind of revealing that he is bisexual, which is, I think, kind of a good way to go for Star-Lord. I'm going to be completely honest. I do not think Chris Pratt would have a problem with this. Personally, I don't think so. I don't know the guy though, but people on Twitter have been very vocal about it and thought it was very, very funny. Again, I don't like cancel culture. I think people need to chill and kind of let people's private lives be private lives. And to be honest, like as far as I'm concerned, Chris Pratt has always kind of seemed like quite a good bloke. I mean, if he's very religious, then that's his personal decision, but I don't really like talking about that kind of stuff. I thought his letter was actually quite open, and he talked about how the church was very kind to him after his divorce from Anna Faris. So, people kind of get what they need from religion. That's what religion's all about. I don't think it's something he should be attacked on. I think he was also attacked because he was one of the only kind of Marvel actors that didn't go to a Joe Biden rally, and people got really annoyed with him then, claiming that basically confirmed him to be a Republican, which, again, if he's a Republican, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't matter to me. Like, if he holds those beliefs, I think there's a difference. If you're pro-Trump, you can be Republican but not pro-Trump. I think you can. And also, there are people that vote for Trump for very good reasons. So I'm very much sitting on the fence on this one. Again, I don't want this to be a political show, but this is just stuff that people are talking about on Twitter. I really, really don't like the Twitter mob. I think that there is a mob there, and I think there is a mob mentality. I don't like cancel culture. I think everyone should be given the benefit of a doubt, really, as far as these sorts of things are concerned. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, talking about Twitter mobs. Right, moving away from the MCU and on to DC. So Zack Snyder revealed on Vero, I believe, which he's like the only person that's on Vero that I know, that his cut of the Justice League will be released on HBO Max in March. Yes, it's coming in March. That's great news. He also revealed in that very same... in that very same kind of... He talked about wiping Joss Whedon's Justice League from existence. And then he said, you'll see it in March. So he wants to wipe Joss Whedon's Justice League from existence. And then in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he revealed that, first off, his film is there's going to be an R-rated theatrical release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which, is kind of cool, I think. He also revealed that the Ben Affleck's Batman in his cut will drop the F-bomb. So there's a lot of stuff in there. I just wanted to get the quote. So again, it's Entertainment Weekly. So this is what he said. So here's one piece of information nobody knows. The movie is insane and so epic and is probably R-rated. That's the one thing I think will happen, that it will be an R-rated version for sure. We haven't heard from the MPAA, but that's my gut. There's one scene where Batman drops an F-bomb. Cyborg is not too happy with what's going on with his life before he meets the Justice League, and he tends to speak his mind. And Steppenwolf is pretty much just hacking people in half. So the rating would be due to violence, profanity, probably both. And then he also went on to talk about... I did talk about this in a previous episode, but he said, I'm a huge fan and big supporter of the cinematic experience, and we're already talking about Justice League playing theatrically at the same time as it coming out on HBO Max. So weirdly, it's the reverse of the trend. So I am excited for this movie. I think it will... I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if it'll be amazing as people think, but I think it'll be a lot better than Joss Whedon's version. And I've always said this, I'm a big advocate for filmmakers getting their initial visions on screen. You can have edits along the way, but I do not like the idea of studios just taking the movies away from filmmakers and just changing them completely, which is what they did with Justice League. Basically, they basically fired Zack Snyder, and they got in Joss Whedon and made a complete mess of a movie. And they did that with David Ayer as well, with his Suicide Squad. Even though I'm not the biggest David Ayer fan in the world, I really would love to see his version as opposed to the awful rubbish we got, which was basically... that had no substance to it. It was just a bunch of music videos all put together. But let me know what you guys think about Zack Snyder's Justice League in the comments below. Are you excited for this? Let me know in the comments. Right, moving on to George Clooney. So George Clooney was recently on an episode of the Howard Stern show, and he talked actually about a bit about Tom Cruise, and actually he said that he kind of agreed with what Tom Cruise did, but he wouldn't have done it in such a shouty manner, which, to be honest... Sorry, my hair's going all over the place. I kind of get it. I mean, I do think he would be a bit more kind of classy about the whole thing, but that's just because he's George Clooney. I think Tom Cruise runs a bit hotter than George Clooney does. But anyway, he also spoke about how he actually tried to get Ben Affleck to not play Batman in Batman vs Superman. So here's what he said. I've sort of had both rounds. I've been a big flip-flop. I've bombed in things and I've had big successes. That doesn't mean they listen. Ben didn't listen to me and he ended up doing a great job and I was wrong. But I can only impart my wisdom from my experience. I just said, don't have nipples on the suit. So he basically said that he tried to get Ben Affleck not to play Batman. He gave him his opinion and said, I wouldn't do it if I were you. Basically, is what he said. He also said that it physically hurts him every time he has to watch Batman and Robin. He said it's so bad that it actually hurts to watch. It physically hurts. You'll be flipping the channels and it'll just pop up, and I'm like, oh no. So poor old George Clooney, he's not having a good time, is he, with Batman and Robin? It wasn't a good film. It really wasn't a good film. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on, and I'm going to skip all of that. And I'm going to go straight on to Chris Pine. Chris Pine. Okay. So he actually revealed that he wants to see Quentin Tarantino direct a Star Trek film. So that was the very first bit of news. So I just wanted to get it's been a couple of episodes I've missed, and I've just got to get them back. Here we go. So this is in an interview with comicbook.com. He said, I haven't read a script. I really, in terms of the Star Trek of all of it, I wish I knew anything. I'm quite literally one of the last people to ever find out. So I haven't read that script. I don't know where it is in development. I haven't read the Noah Hawley script. I have no idea what's happening in Star Wars land. But I love the character, I love the universe, I love my friends in it, and to have a Quentin take on it would be tremendously interesting and entertaining. Look, whatever happens, if I come back or not, it's a great universe, it deserves to have a future, and I hope that is the case. So he's basically quite wishy-washy. But the whole bit, he said, have a Quentin take on it would be tremendously interesting and entertaining. I completely agree with him. I would love, love, love to see Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie. He wrote the script. J.J. Abrams apparently loved it, and they're now rumored that Paramount Pictures, are going to be making more R-rated Star Trek films. This is a rumor that comes from Daniel Rickman. So it's something that I'm looking at more and more and thinking, could this happen? Because the Noah Hawley Star Trek film has basically been put on hold. Noah Hawley's gone to Hulu now, to FX, I think, to make the Alien series, which I'm very, very excited about. So that's going to be his next project. He did say, I wrote the Star Trek movie script, and it just, nothing seems to be happening. So who knows what's going to happen with Star Trek? It's in a bit of a weird place. It seems as though hopefully they'll be able to bring back the original cast, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek cast, because I think that's a great cast. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg. I think it's a really, really good cast, and I would really, really like to see more of it. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, Ron Perlman actually revealed recently in an interview with... Who did he talk to? It wasn't comicbook.com. It was comicbook.com. They've had a lot of interviews recently. And he actually revealed that he would definitely do a Hellboy 3 if asked. He said, I'm fond of David Harbour. He's a really good guy and he's a really good actor. So I was hoping for the best for him, but I had my Hellboy era, what it was. The reboot has actually nothing to do with my films. There was no overlap. They're completely different entities, so I didn't have an opinion about the new Hellboy or a wish for it to succeed or fail. But I did make it clear that if there was a chance to finish the trilogy with Guillermo, as we had done in the first two films, and in the image of what he had in his mind in terms of closing all the circles, that it's something I would do to this day consider doing. But since it didn't happen, then I had moved on and I didn't have an opinion about any of it. I'm not being effusive or hyperbolic. That's just the truth of it. So I would love to see them do a Hellboy 3. I'm a massive fan of Hellboy and Hellboy the Golden Army. I think they're two brilliant films. I think Guillermo del Toro is a fantastic director. To be honest, it seems though it just seems as though it's not going to happen, which is a massive shame, really, because I just love Hellboy. I love his Hellboy. I thought the Hellboy that we did get with David Harbour had so much promise, but ended up being, it was terrible. I'm going to be honest, it was just a terrible, terrible film. And I think we need Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro back. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, it's time to move away from movies. Finally, there's been a lot to get through, and on to TV news. So it's now being rumoured, again from Daniel Rickman, that Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, is going to be returning in Armor Wars. So this is the show that's we're going to have Don Cheadle playing War Machine again, and this will be the last time he plays that role. It was revealed that was revealed by Kevin Feige at the Disney Investors Day presentation, which is sad, but it sounds as though he's going to go out on a high. So this series is all going to be about the tech, Tony Stark's tech going into the wrong hands. So I don't think that the wrong hands will be Justin Hammer. I don't really see Justin Hammer as a villain. I just see him as a bit of a clown, to be honest. If you watch Iron Man 2, if you really want to watch that film, all he really wants is to be the next Tony Stark. He's not really he doesn't want to kill people. He's not a villain. The villain in there was Mickey Rourke's Ivan. He was a villain of the movie. So if he were to be in the movie, I actually think he might try and help, and I think he might end up being quite useless. He might come up with some sort of weapons. He did actually make War Machine's suit. So I believe, yeah, he did make War Machine's suit. But it was kind of, I think it was Tony Stark just made it better. But what do you think about that? Is Justin Hammer returning? I really would love to see Sam Rockwell come back to the MCU and be given a bigger role. I think he was kind of shortchanged after Iron Man 2, which just didn't do very well. But that wasn't his fault. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, I just wanted to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, which was it was teased at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, so spoilers. And then there were lots of reports, I'm not going to say from whom, a certain YouTuber was claiming that this was going to be The Mandalorian Season 3, that The Mandalorian Season 3 was going to be the Book of Boba Fett, and the reason being is basically confirming their scoop that Pedro Pascal had issues on the set of The Mandalorian Season 2 and wanted to film more out of his mask, and then basically they've got rid of him. That's not the case. So I was told by my sources that Lucasfilm's The Book of Boba Fett will be 4 episodes long and will not be The Mandalorian Season 3. There'll be a mini-series, a limited series of 4 episodes, was what I was told. And then this was basically confirmed by Jon Favreau, who was on Good Morning America. And he revealed 2 things. He revealed that it's not going to be The Mandalorian Season 3, that it's going to be coming out in December 2021. It's in production as we speak. I think it's almost going to wrap. It's almost close to wrapping. And that they're also going to have Robert Rodriguez as an executive producer. So that's Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Robert Rodriguez are going to be producing the show together, or are producing the show together, which is kind of makes sense because Robert Rodriguez directed the episode The Tragedy, in which we really saw Boba Fett. Like, for the first time, he was just brutal in the way he fought. And I really do believe that Robert Rodriguez just understands that character pretty well and wants to do a lot more with him. Interestingly enough, Robert Rodriguez was a last-minute addition to the series. He wasn't originally supposed to direct that episode. He's a close friend of Jon Favreau's, and Favreau asked if he could help them out and direct that episode. Turned out to be a just perfect kind of, union. And he's doing more of Boba Fett stuff, which I think is great. I think that's really good. But I just wanted to put it out there that I said this the minute after The Mandalorian Season 2 ended, that post-credit scene. I was like, well, this is clearly, it's a spin-off. That's what it is. And The Mandalorian Season 3, I believe Bo-Katan will end up being the main villain of that. There was a lot said about what happens at the end of the Mandalorian and why Bo-Katan couldn't accept the Darksaber from Din, who just beaten Moff Gideon. I'm going into major spoilers. I'm sorry. It's been a couple of days now. If you haven't watched it, then what are you doing? But basically people were like, well, it's a bit weird because she accepted it from Sabine Wren in Star Wars Rebels, which is, yes, that is the case. She did accept it from Sabine Wren. So why can't she accept it now? Is this a retcon, or is this something more? I honestly think it's something more because Dave Filoni was the creator of Star Wars Rebels. He of course knows that Bo-Katan accepted the Darksaber from Sabine Wren. What we don't know is what happened in between that point and the point of Moff Gideon getting the Darksaber. So I said it's rumored. It's a theory of mine. I have asked some people about this, and they have said that that she'll be a villain to a certain extent. So what I think is going to happen is that there's going to be an altercation between Din and Bo-Katan. And the reason Bo-Katan can't accept the Darksaber is because of the fact that Moff Gideon probably beat her in combat, which is how he ended up with the Darksaber in the first place. Therefore, if she were to just accept the Darksaber again from Din Djarin, she will not be seen as the legitimate leader of Mandalore, because it will be twice now that she's got the dark saber just through being handed it, which isn't the way the Mandalorians really think. They're very honorable people, and they're also very proud, and they're very, very much into like the combat, and that's what they're all about. They're kind of a warrior race, really, of people. And this is why I think she needs to fight Din. And that's Moff Gideon knows that, because actually it's probably even worse for her that she was beaten by a non-Mandalorian. That's probably the main reason. And no, I haven't seen anyone say that. And to be honest, whilst watching it, I wasn't like, oh my God, didn't she accept it from Sabine? I was kind of like, she accepted it from Sabine, a fellow Mandalorian, and then she was in charge of Mandalore for a couple of years, and it all went wrong, and then Moff Gideon ended up with the sword. Moff Gideon is not a Mandalorian. So that's the whole reason she wanted to find him. She needed to beat him in combat. She needed to take it from him. She needed to either kill him and then reclaim it, or disarm him in combat. She can't then have Din Djarin beat him in combat, take the dark saber, and then give it to her. It's just, as far as a Mandalorian's concerned, she wouldn't be a feasible leader for Mandalore. And now I think there's going to be two factions within the Mandalorian clan, where people will be following Din and people will be following Bo-Katan. And Bo-Katan, she'll probably make it her business to track down Din and beat him in combat for the Darksaber. Also, there's the added fact that Din Djarin kind of comes from basically a cult within like a Mandalorian cult. He didn't know that, but he is. And that's going to play into season 3 as well, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember her name, but the other Mandalorian that was in season 1, I'm pretty sure we're going to see her come back, and she's going to play a bigger part in season 3, and might even force or try and convince Din to just keep the Darksaber and rule Mandalore, as, bring their cult back from the ashes, and then that be the true way of the Mandalorian. So I really think season 3 is going to be fascinating. I think it might be quite political, and I'm really, really excited to see what happens. But let me know that, again, that's pure speculation on my end. But I was just trying to kind of maybe hopefully explain why Bo-Katan couldn't just take the Darksaber. I really think it's a lot to do with Moff Gideon having beaten her in combat, and it's kind of almost like a pride thing. She has to win it back. And I think also in the eyes of Mandalorians, she has to win it back. She can't just be given it again. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on. And there are rumors that Lucasfilm is working on a Luke Skywalker spin-off Star Wars show. So this comes from Fandom Wire. They're actually the people that scooped and delivered the exclusive that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in Spider-Man 3, so that's pretty much confirmed. And it looks like, as far as they're concerned, it's going to be a young like Luke Skywalker show. And they say that we're not sure if they're going to go CGI or have an actor. So one of the big issues a lot of people had, and I actually did have it myself, with the finale of The Mandalorian Season 2, was that Luke Skywalker's CGI was bad. So it was bad. It was like a deep fake, and which is a shame. I was very much an advocate of bringing in Sebastian Stan to play Luke Skywalker. I really think a live action actor is better than bad CGI. So it seems as though Lucasfilm is thinking of doing a Luke Skywalker show, and if they are really considering this, then the best solution would be to bring in Sebastian Stan to play the character. I'm a bit dubious because of what they did in The Mandalorian Season 2, because they had a CGI face. They've kind of pinned that to the wall. That's now officially their position. It's like that's their Luke, that kind of awful CGI version. And I really don't think they can do a whole show with that. I just don't think it would work. It would be too expensive. It wouldn't look good. And I'm not sure people would be happy with that. The scene in the Mandalorian season 2, like the finale, where Luke comes back, is brilliant because he's hooded. You don't really see much of him. You just see what he's doing, and what he's doing is incredibly cool. But the minute he takes off his hood and you see his face, it's kind of the illusion almost just completely goes. It's nice to hear Mark Hamill's voice, but it's quite robotic. It's quite monotone. And you really do need a live action actor to do it. And I think to do it justice, you do. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. And what I'm gonna end on a bit of news that apparently there's a Firefly reboot in the works over at Disney. So now that Disney owns Fox, they also own the rights to Firefly. Fans aren't happy about it, let's just say that, because they'd rather see a revival and not a reboot, or just nothing at all. It's rumored that this is a reboot and not a revival. So people are annoyed about that. And there's an article about that on Small Screen, which you can go and read now. But with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. I might be back tomorrow for a live stream. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to be taking Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off because it's Christmas. And, 2020 has been a bit of a weird year, so I do want to take some time off. And I think you guys should too. I think everyone should take Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off and just not do anything. Just be with whoever you can be with, if you can be with people. But thank you very much for watching. If you want to hear this in podcast form, as I said before, you can. Wherever you get your podcast is Small Screen Stories. If you can give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, that'd be wonderful. You can follow Small Screen everywhere now at Small Screen Co. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can follow me at EJ Lauder. And you can go onto the website, which is at www.small-screen.co.uk. Please read the articles. We put a lot of work into them. It'd be great if you could. And comment, share, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, like if you're watching over on Facebook, and do whatever you're doing on Twitch. I really don't know what people are doing on Twitch. I feel my age now. Anyway. That's enough waffling from me. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you possibly tomorrow. Thanks and goodbye.